World War II, a global conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation, lasted from 1939 to 1945. It involved the vast majority of the world's nations, including all of the great powers. The war left an indelible mark on human history, resulting in an estimated 40 to 85 million fatalities. This catastrophic conflict was not a sudden eruption, but rather the culmination of a series of interconnected events that unfolded in the aftermath of World War I. The seeds of World War II were sown in the ashes of its predecessor, taking root in a world grappling with political instability, economic turmoil, and the rise of dangerous ideologies. This essay will delve into the complex web of causes that led to World War II, examining the role of the Treaty of Versailles, the rise of totalitarian regimes, the failure of the League of Nations, and the impact of the Great Depression.
The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended World War I. However, instead of fostering lasting peace, it created deep-seated resentment and instability in Europe. The treaty placed the blame for the war squarely on Germany, imposing harsh penalties on the defeated nation. Germany was forced to cede significant territories, disarm its military, and pay massive reparations to the victorious Allied powers. These punitive measures crippled the German economy and bred widespread anger and humiliation among the German population. The Treaty of Versailles, while intended to prevent future wars, inadvertently laid the groundwork for another global conflict. It created a climate of bitterness and resentment in Germany, which would be exploited by opportunistic leaders seeking to regain their nation's lost power and prestige. In the aftermath of World War I, a new breed of political leaders emerged, promising stability and national revival amidst the chaos. These totalitarian dictators, driven by ideologies of extreme nationalism, militarism, and expansionism, would rise to power in Germany, Italy, and Japan. In Germany, Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party capitalized on the widespread economic hardship and national humiliation following World War I. Hitler's ideology of Aryan supremacy and his promises to restore Germany to its former glory resonated with a population desperate for change.
In Italy, Benito Mussolini established a fascist regime, promising to restore the glory of the Roman Empire. Mussolini's brand of authoritarian nationalism emphasized state power, military strength, and territorial expansion.
In Japan, military leaders gained increasing influence, advocating for a policy of aggressive expansionism in Asia. They believed that Japan's destiny lay in establishing dominance over its neighbors, securing access to resources and markets.
The League of Nations, established in 1920, was a bold attempt to create a global organization dedicated to preventing future wars. It aimed to achieve this through collective security, diplomacy, and international cooperation. However, the League lacked its own military force and relied on member states to enforce its decisions. Many powerful nations, including the United States, never joined the League or withdrew their support, weakening its authority. The League also struggled to address the underlying economic and political issues that contributed to international tensions. The League's inability to effectively address the Abyssinian crisis, the Japanese invasion of Manchuria, and the Spanish Civil War demonstrated its impotence in the face of aggression. These failures embolden aggressor nations, signaling that the international community was unwilling or unable to stop them.
Section 5. Economic Despair, the Great Depression. The Great Depression, a severe worldwide economic downturn that began in 1929, further fueled the rise of extremism and contributed to the outbreak of World War II. The Depression led to widespread unemployment, poverty, and social unrest, creating fertile ground for radical political movements. In Germany, the Depression exacerbated the economic hardship caused by the Treaty of Versailles, allowing Hitler and the Nazi Party to gain political power. Hitler promised economic recovery and national renewal, appealing to a population desperate for solutions. The Depression also strained international relations, as nations became more protectionist, raising tariffs and competing for scarce resources. This economic nationalism further eroded international cooperation and created an atmosphere of suspicion and distrust.
Section 6. Appeasement, a fatal policy. Appeasement, a policy of making concessions to an aggressor in the hopes of avoiding conflict, played a significant role in the events leading to World War II. The Allied powers, particularly Britain and France, adopted this policy towards Germany in the 1930s. Driven by a desire to avoid another devastating war, Britain and France made a series of concessions to Hitler, hoping to satisfy his demands and maintain peace. However, appeasement only emboldened Hitler, who interpreted it as a sign of weakness and an opportunity to expand his power. The most infamous example of appeasement was the Munich Agreement of 1938. In this agreement, Britain and France allowed Germany to annex the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia with a large German population. Hitler promised that this would be his last territorial demand, but his assurances proved worthless. Section 7. The Road to War. A series of miscalculations. The road to World War II was paved with a series of miscalculations, missed opportunities, and a collective failure to recognize the danger posed by totalitarian aggression. The Treaty of Versailles, while intended to prevent future wars, created the conditions for renewed conflict. The rise of totalitarian regimes in Germany, Italy, and Japan, fueled by economic instability and nationalist sentiment, posed a serious threat to the international order. The failure of the League of Nations to effectively address aggression emboldened these regimes, leading them to believe they could act with impunity. Appeasement, a well-intentioned but ultimately flawed policy, only served to strengthen Hitler's grip on power and hasten the outbreak of war. By the late 1930s, Europe was on a collision course with disaster as tensions reached a boiling point. Section 8. The Spark that Ignited the World. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, marking the beginning of World War II. This act of aggression shattered the fragile peace that had prevailed in Europe for 2 decades. Britain and France, bound by their treaties with Poland, declared war on Germany on September 3rd. The invasion of Poland was the culmination of years of tension, aggression, and failed diplomacy. It was a stark reminder of the high cost of appeasement and the dangers of unchecked totalitarian ambition. The world watched in horror as Europe once again descended into the abyss of war. Section 9. Conclusion: A legacy of war. World War II was a global catastrophe that left an enduring legacy on the world. The war's origins were complex and multifaceted, stemming from a confluence of factors. The Treaty of Versailles, the rise of totalitarian regimes, the failure of the League of Nations, the Great Depression, and the policy of appeasement all played a role in setting the stage for this devastating conflict. World War II serves as a stark reminder of the importance of diplomacy, international cooperation, and vigilance in the face of tyranny. It is a lesson that must never be forgotten, urging us to strive for a more peaceful and just world.